You wake up, you go to work, you come home, you scroll, you sleep, you repeat. And somewhere between the alarm and the pillow, you ask yourself, is this it? Not out loud, not dramatically, just a whisper in the back of your mind that you've trained yourself to ignore. Because everything looks fine. You have a job, you have a routine, you have things to do. People would say you're doing well. Maybe you even say it yourself. But inside, there's a feeling you can't name. A hollowness you can't explain. A sense that you're moving through the motions of a life that doesn't actually feel like yours. You're not struggling. You're not failing. You're just empty. Stability can be anesthesia. And the worst part is not the emptiness. It's how normal you've made it feel. What you call adult life is often just maintenance. You function, but you don't feel alive. And the longer you stay in this loop, the harder it becomes to remember what it felt like to want something, to move towards something, to be pulled by something bigger than comfort. You're not lost because your circumstances are wrong. You're lost because you stopped listening to the part of you that knows what's true. You buried it under bills, under expectations, under the fear of looking foolish for wanting more than what's acceptable. You called it maturity. You called it responsibility. You called it being realistic. It wasn't. It was surrender, quiet, polite, and gradual. You don't wake up tired. You wake up absent. And now you're paying the price, not in catastrophe, but in numbness. Not in chaos, but in silence. Not the silence that heals, the silence that spreads. You thought safety would bring peace, but all it brought was distance. Distance from yourself, distance from meaning, distance from the life you were supposed to build, not inherit. And the truth you avoid admitting is simple. You're not waiting for the right moment to change. You're waiting for permission to stay the same. Because change is uncertain, and uncertainty feels like danger. So you stay, you adapt, you cope. You promise yourself tomorrow will be different, but tomorrow is built from today. And today, you did nothing. There's a pattern you've perfected, a way of moving through your days that looks like engagement, but feels like autopilot. You answer when spoken to, you complete what's required, you show up where expected, but none of it touches you. Because you made a trade you don't remember agreeing to. You traded aliveness for approval, depth for acceptance, purpose for permission. And now the debt is due. You can look fine and still be gone. You've become an expert at appearing present while being completely absent, at looking stable while feeling hollow, at surviving in a way that requires no real life force. The reason you can't shake this feeling is simple. You're not living from purpose. You're living from habit. Every day is a repetition of the day before. Every choice is an echo of a choice you made years ago when you decided that fitting in was safer than standing out. You stopped asking what you wanted. You started asking what was acceptable, what was normal, what wouldn't make you look foolish or selfish or too much. And in the process of becoming acceptable, you became invisible. Not to others, to yourself. You look in the mirror and you don't see someone you recognize. You see a collection of roles, a stack of obligations, a person built for expectations, not for meaning. Maintenance is not a life. It's a delay. And the worst part is, no one notices. Because you've gotten so good at the performance that even you can't tell where the mask ends and the person begins. But the emptiness knows. It always knows. It sits in your chest during quiet moments. It rises in your throat when someone asks how you've been. It presses against your ribs when you lie in bed and realize another day passed and nothing in you moved. You tell yourself it's normal, that everyone feels this way, that this is just what adulthood is. A slow fade from passion into routine, from meaning into monotony. But that isn't truth. That's resignation. You can have everything and still feel lost. And the more you repeat the lie, the more you trap yourself inside a life that was never supposed to be yours. Because here's what no one tells you. You can do everything right and still wake up wondering why none of it feels like enough. It's not about what you have. It's about what you're building. And right now, you're not building anything. You're maintaining. You're surviving. You're coasting on momentum that ran out years ago. The cost isn't dramatic. It's quiet. It's the erosion of who you were supposed to become. You know what the problem is? You've always known. But knowing and confronting are not the same thing. Confronting means admitting that the life you've built, the one that looks stable, the one that keeps you safe, is not the life you want. And that admission feels dangerous, not because it means starting over, but because it means accepting how long you've been negotiating with your own truth. Every time you said, "I'm fine," you protected a story that no longer serves you. You've spent so long convincing yourself that this is enough that wanting more starts to feel like betrayal, like greed, like proof that something is wrong with you. But there's nothing wrong with you. What's wrong is the belief that you're supposed to settle, that comfort is the goal, that a quiet life is the same as a meaningful one. It's not. A quiet life without purpose is not peace. It's paralysis, and you feel it every single day. In the way you move through routines without energy. In the way you answer questions without presence. In the way you make plans that don't excite you and commitments that don't inspire you. You become a ghost by agreement. The reason you can't escape this feeling is because you keep avoiding the one point where the story breaks. So answer the question you've been dodging. What do you actually want? Not what looks good, not what keeps people comfortable, not what makes you seem stable. What do you actually want? And when the answer tries to arrive dressed as something safe and vague, notice it. Because this question isn't about goals. It's about alignment. It's about whether the life you're living reflects who you are or who you trained yourself to be. You can't logic your way into meaning. You can't rationalize your way into purpose. You can't think your way out of a life that doesn't feel like yours. If the life doesn't fit you, it will numb you. You have to choose, not once. Repeatedly. Because every day you avoid truth, you reinforce the cage. And every day you call it fine, you pay to stay asleep. Here's the truth you've been avoiding. You're not lost because you don't know where to go. You're lost because you refuse to leave where you are. You've convinced yourself that the problem is out there, that if you just found the right job, the right relationship, the right city, the right anything, then the emptiness would stop. It won't. Because the emptiness isn't caused by what's missing. It's caused by what's present. The disconnection between who you are and how you live. You built a life that looks right, That fits the script. That keeps you safe. But it doesn't fit you. And every day you stay inside it, you lose a little more of the person you were supposed to become. Not because you're failing, because you keep choosing the familiar over the true. You mistook survival for success. You mistook routine for rhythm. You mistook the absence of pain for the presence of meaning. And now you're paying the price, not in collapse, in slow erosion, in the creeping realization that years are passing and nothing is changing, because the life you're living is not the life you wanted. You don't remember when you gave up. You only remember when you stopped asking what you wanted and started asking what was safe. You stopped listening to the voice inside you that said, more, and started listening to the voice that said, enough. You stopped building and started maintaining. You became functional and unfulfilled. And that is how people disappear while still showing up. This will not change while you keep defending the loop. The moment you admit you're disconnected is the moment you stop pretending you're not. The moment you stop calling numbness peace is the moment you see the cost. The life you're waiting for will not arrive on its own. It won't knock. It won't rescue you. It will remain unavailable until you become someone who pays attention. Because the alternative is simple. More of the same. More maintenance. More quiet loss. More years spent inside a life that never felt like yours. You're not lost. You're disconnected. And disconnection is a choice you keep making.